Greetings. Today we are the day after the lunar eclipse in Pisces. The moon does go from Pisces into Aries today, so we shift gears into action mode with the Aries fiery moon sign. And the mood of the day is shifting into one of what do you need to do? How do you need to move? Where can you put your courage into action? I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Monday, September 8th. So we are still in the eclipse energy. In fact, the eclipse energy tends to last for weeks or even months, right? Because eclipses are potent, important, meaningful, significant turning points. And depending on, some eclipses are going to be more of a memorable time in your life than others, but they all have that potential. So we're thinking about how we're going to work with this energy of what is shifting, what is emerging into consciousness, into our awareness. What are we learning? What are we noticing? Because remember, full moons reveal, they reflect something back to us that we need to see to get where we want to go. Right? We set our intentions at the new moon to say, here's what matters to me, here's what I want to manifest, here is what seed I am planting. That's the new moon. And then the full moon reflects something back to us that helps us to see more clearly where we need to change or what needs to change or something we need to become aware of or just something that needs to happen that is being revealed to us. And so that energy of the full moon being fully illuminated, right? The light is shining on the moon, and the moon is the inner self. It is our inner place of needs and feelings and what makes us feel happy and secure. So the moon, when it's fully illuminated like that, reveals something about how and where we need to make changes or get on track to connect with that place of happiness where we feel secure, where, right, where we can just relax and be who we're here to be. I mean, that is a really powerful thing. So with this and with an eclipse, you have not just that full moon energy, but also something that is like if you take a flashlight and you shine it through a keyhole, right? You can make a light on the wall, right? On the opposite side of the room, you're shining the light through the keyhole of. But imagine if there are two doors, one on opposite sides of the room, and you're shining your light through a keyhole, and there's a door on the other side where that wall is, and the light you're angling your flashlight just so the light goes through your keyhole and through the next keyhole, right? To go into the next room. That is what an eclipse does. It says everything is lined up in a line so that that light can go all the way through to, maybe the next dimension. Just some food for thought there, right? But what it's doing is it's helping us to have that support in making the changes or recognizing the things we need to be aware of in order to get where we want to go. And it has to do, it's not separate from our own healing process. So the places where we want to be more functional, to, not what is healing, right? Healing is maybe overcoming challenges, maybe not having the things that drag you down, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. So, in other words, this is an opportunity to work with these energies that can bring a deeper place of shift, maybe even bringing in that unseen energy from that extra room on the other side of that other keyhole. So, maybe bringing in some resources or information that you don't ordinarily have at your fingertips, right, at your disposal. So, it's opening you to those deeper places of truth. So we're in that eclipse energy, and depending where 15 degrees Pisces Virgo is, or even Gemini Sagittarius is in your chart, those are the places that are being especially activated by this eclipse energy, because they are the middle degrees of mutable signs, basically. So so whatever, and whether you have, sensitive points in your chart in those areas or not, you're still feeling the eclipse vibes. So then today, about 11:37 a.m. Pacific time, the moon goes into Aries. And as it does, of course, it passes by Saturn at 29 and a half about degrees of Pisces. So just before the moon goes into Aries, in that last half degree of Pisces, it's activating Saturn's energy. And then once it goes into Aries, about an hour or a couple hours later, it's activating that Neptune by forming a conjunction with the planet Neptune. And so that shift of the moon from Pisces into Aries brings a couple of things. It brings that need to shift into action, right? What do you need to do about something? Where do you need to move? So, if you're imagining climbing a mountain, you could sit cross-legged at the foot of the mountain for as long as you want, right? But you're not going to get there until you stand up and start walking. So that's what the Aries energy brings. It says, okay, what is being put in motion? Where do you need to act or move on something to move it forward, to do that next action step, even if it's as simple as, an errand on your to-do list, or a phone call, or doing that thing you've been meaning to do, or reaching out to that person you've been meaning to reach out to. And of course, all the ways that we take action could be in play here. So those actions are going to begin the process of, integrating and bringing through these energies that are being revealed around the eclipse, or whatever is noticing or shifting in your consciousness, I guess, being noticed, right? So connecting with your own bigger picture of your spiritual guidance or inner wisdom, or whatever that looks like for you, and connecting with what that feels like, and then asking, as the moon goes into Aries, where do I need to act on it? What do I need to do about it? How am I going to get to the top of that mountain? I can imagine it, I can dream it, but there's also that part, right? It's all about balance. So I also have to get my feet moving. So, what does that look like for you? Thinking about today's um, Aries energies, and then also the Saturn Neptune energies. And as Saturn is now in Pisces, Neptune's still in Aries, those energies are they're balancing things out with Saturn having that reckoning in Pisces. What do we need to get clear about that maybe we've been disillusioned about, or experienced some getting lost, getting confused, getting off track? So, where do we need to make those course corrections to get in alignment with what really is true and right? And then Neptune in Aries bringing in that fiery energy, saying it's not enough just to have a spiritual principle. It's also something you need to take action on or do something about. And what does that look like for you? What does courage look like for you when it's grounded in that bigger spiritual picture? So those are my thoughts for today. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Marina Orms, and you can book a reading with me at astrologyheals.com. Check out my member site, transformationalastrology.com. Some great resources there. And thank you for being here. I'm here every day with Astrology for Unshakable Self-Care. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And thanks again. I will see you next time.